Hey guys! So, not too long ago, I made a video about my horrible art trade stories. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to go watch it before or after this video. At the end of that video, I said if the video did well, I'd make a part 2. And the video did do well, and many of you guys asked me to make a part 2. So here is my part 2 of my horrible art trade stories. Like I said in my other video, these stories took place around 2018 to 2020. And they happened on my old art account called KikiPaw, which I still can't get into as it won't allow me to change the email when I try logging on the account. I explained the situation better in my previous video, but in short note, I used my school email and once I graduated, the email was deleted, so the email used for the account no longer exists. So I cannot access any of my past conversations, which is really annoying. Plus, I can't show any of the art trades I drew, because the people still might use these characters to this day, and theoretically, you could trace the character to the artist, and I don't want anybody to be attacked by these past stories of mine, as these people might have changed, so just like I did with the other video, I'll try to explain my horrible art trade experiences the best I can. With that all said, let's get right into the stories. Story 1. The first story is about a person I traded with that didn't give me the art we agreed on doing for the trade. Usually in an art trade, both people agree to draw a certain character and either draw full body, half body, or headshots of said character. Both people agree on if you'll shade the drawing or not, and in some cases, agree to drawing a complex background. I needed to explain this because this person did not draw what we both agreed on for the art trade. We agreed to draw each other's chosen characters in a shaded, full-body drawing with a scenic background. This was a lot of work for one drawing, but we both were going to get it in return from each other. Or so I thought. After we agreed on this trade, a few days went by and I finally had completed my part of the art trade. I can't show the drawing in this video, as I previously mentioned, although I drew their character they asked me to draw, sitting down in a field of flowers, and the whole drawing was shaded. I spent a lot of hours on this drawing, and honestly, at the time, I was really proud of it. When I showed them the drawing in our DMs, they were really happy, they expressed how much they loved it, and gave me their email so I could email it over to them. A week went by, and they hadn't said anything in our DMs. I checked in to see how their progress was on their part of the art trade, and told them to take their time, because the drawing we agreed on was pretty complex. I just wanted to make sure they didn't forget about it. About an hour went by, and they responded back to me, and their response was horrible. First of all, they sent me a drawing of a different character of mine, not the one they agreed to draw. Not the worst thing by all means, but come on, in an art trade, if you agree to draw a certain character, draw that character. Second, they didn't draw what we agreed on at all. They sent me a headshot of my character that was messily shaded. Like, you could tell they whipped up this drawing in 20 minutes. Lastly, their message they sent along with this art was just terrible. They told me that they have art block and that they can't possibly work on what we agreed on drawing, so in return they drew my other character because they wanted to make up for it. Like, how was I supposed to respond to that? I understand having art block, like, that really does suck. But that's no excuse to not complete your side of the art trade. If you genuinely have art block and need to work on an art trade, you can take some time to get inspiration again, and hopefully the person trading with you understands and is patient. Anyways, I had already completed my part of the art trade, and getting a headshot of my character in return when I spent hours drawing a full-body character in a shaded background felt so unfair. So I told them nicely that the headshot drawing wasn't fair in return and that I didn't mind however long it would take them to complete their part of the art trade, as I wanted them to draw what we originally agreed on. I was firm but kind with my approach. They did not like hearing this. They got super mad and defensive. They accused me of not liking their headshot drawing, which was not the case. I just didn't feel like it was fair in return, as it wasn't what we agreed on drawing. Then they started telling me that they didn't like my part of the art trade, even though, beforehand, they told me how much they loved it, and specifically asked me to email it to them. If they really didn't like it, they wouldn't have wanted me to email it over to them. And despite if they liked my part or not, they still agreed to drawing a shaded full-body character with a scenic background. Anyways, at this point, I was pretty defeated. They said a lot of rude things to me, and I didn't even want to continue texting, even if that meant they wouldn't complete their part of the art trade. It was just a lot. I've always been a bit of a people pleaser, so seeing someone get so angry at me for no real reason just stresses me out. So I went off of our chat for a couple hours, and when I returned to Instagram, I saw they blocked me, which honestly wasn't a shocker, and I never did get that art they agreed to draw. Story 2. The second story is about a person I traded with that was very impatient and expected me to have my art done on the same day we agreed on doing it. So this person reached out to me in DMs about doing an art trade. I liked their art style and they seemed super friendly, so I said yes. We both agreed on drawing each other's characters in a half-body drawing. Only 3 hours went by, and this person had already finished their part of the art trade and sent it over to me in DMs. For anyone who doesn't know, that's pretty fast for an art trade, since usually people can take a few days to a week to complete it. I was at school, so I hadn't started my part yet, but planned to work on it either when I got home or the next day, as it was a Friday. I told them that I loved their part of the art trade, and that I'd work on my part when I was able to, either later on that day or the very next day. Everything seemed good. I was happy with the art they made for me, and I was excited to start my part of the trade when I got the time. For once, it seemed like a good art trade. Well, I was wrong to assume that was the case. I was in a social studies class, which was my last class of the day, and my teacher was pretty strict about using phones, so I would leave mine in my pocket a lot of the time. And during this class, I heard my phone buzzing. A ton. This person sent me a bunch of DMs. Like, they spammed me. I remember being in class when they were spamming me with messages, and I couldn't look at what they were saying until after the class had finished. When I saw the messages, I was shocked. They were asking me why I haven't started the art trade yet, freaking out about it, and accusing me of scamming them. They genuinely thought I wasn't going to do this art trade. It had been maybe like 4 to 5 hours at this point since we agreed to do this art trade, and they seriously thought I was trying to scam them out of art? I was at school the whole time. I'm sorry? I told them that I was at school and that I just finished my last class and was heading home to start the art trade. And they weren't like mean to me by any means, but they were just annoying. It had only been around 5 hours, and they were spamming my DMs and freaking out about me not completing my part of the art trade yet, going as far to say that I'm trying to scam them. Like I said, it's honestly pretty normal to take a few days to a week to complete an art trade. No one bats an eye at that. So I have no idea why they were so worried. Maybe this is their very first art trade, or maybe someone actually did scam them in an art trade and they were paranoid from that experience. Either way, what they did wasn't fair to me. I had no chance to start the art trade as I was at school, and they spammed me during my class, which is distracting. I couldn't focus on what my teacher was talking about that day due to my phone buzzing constantly. And, not to mention, them accusing me of scamming them was super uncalled for. Anyways, I got home and was able to complete the art trade after about 4 hours of working on it. I showed it to them and they seemed super excited. They told me they loved it and asked me to email it over to them. I did, and I also got them to email their part of the trade over to me. So, in the end, it all worked out, but it wasn't a great experience overall, due to the fact they spammed me with a bunch of messages and accused me of scamming. Plus, they never apologized for doing that. You'd think they would have felt bad, especially after I did complete my part of the art trade, but no, they never acknowledged what they did was wrong. Although, at least they didn't harass and block me like the other person in my first story. Anyways, that's the end of my horrible art trade stories for this video. I have no idea where these two people I traded with ended up, but I hope they changed and that they're doing well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and again, if you haven't seen my first video about it, make sure to go watch that too. If you liked this video, please like it, if you haven't already, as it really helps my channel do well. If you want more videos like this one, let me know in the comment section. I have a lot of other art-related stories that I've never shared before. Anyways, it's been Leamon Puppy. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next time.